Yeah, so we're going to discuss this ABAP objects, which is object-oriented ABAP. So we're going to cover all these concepts. Okay, different approaches in programming. We'll try to understand classes and objects, methods, constructors, inheritance, interface, friendship between the classes, events, class-based exceptions. Okay, I'm not going through this all these 123 slides, but whatever is important, we'll discuss those and we'll jump into the programming. Okay. We see here approaches of programming. Actually, we have three kinds of approaching in the programming: unstructured programming, procedural programming, object-oriented ABAP, object-oriented programming. Okay. So unstructured programming, this is an example if you see here. So we have the report with subtraction, delete, we have to write. We have some declaration and we initiated salary 12,000. We write some if condition, if else part, and we had mentioned net salary minus tax. Here we have tax benefit, right? Less than LT means salary less than 5,000, income tax 0, or else part we are doing some calculation 0.01%. Okay, we are multiplying, that will be the tax. Salary minus tax, we are displaying the total salary, tax, net salary. Okay, as in content. And for another scenario, again we have to write same scenario for different employee example. Okay, so we have initiated salary 3,500. Again we are displaying content. Okay, so we are duplicating the same code with a different initial value, right? So if you see here, difficult to manage once a program becomes locked. This is very simple program. I can understand salary with if condition right, salary if condition right. But if it is a program having 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 lines with the code is repeated, then it's not good programming. Okay, so different to manage the program becomes large. Same sequence of statements are repeated at multiple places if they are needed at multiple locations. So we need this code repeated. Now see, in both places it is repeated. Okay. So that is unstructured program. We didn't write as of now. Or simply you can understand class 1 to 15, what are the programs we wrote? Those are all unstructured programs. Okay. So because we plan to understand that keywords, that time we use functionality of procedural oriented programming. Okay. If you see here, the same thing we are doing, but we are doing in subroutines. If you see, declaration is same. We have salary 12,000. We are calling the subroutine this value calculation, tax using sales, the salary, item and net salary. Here we are using means it is work as the importing exporting parameters. Here salary we are considering as the importing, income tax, net salary is considered as the output. We don't have here importing exporting option similar to function model, but it's based on the values it will work. Salary, ITax, net salary we are passing. Salary value we already initiated 12,000. So it will consider as importing. ITax and net salary we didn't initiate. So it will consider as exporting values. Again, I am calling the same subroutine. If you see form and end form. So whatever the code we wanted to repeat it, we'll put it into single subroutine and we are calling twice. Okay. By passing the dynamic value. Salary is a dynamic value. 3,500 we are passing. So that is why here we are getting P sal, P ITax, P net value. If you remember that BDC concept, we were generated this, right? When you double click on subroutine, it is generating this formal parameters. So those formal parameters I see in previous report in salary we are using as it is. Now here we are using P underscore sal. 5,000 is fixed in both the scenarios. You can see here also 5,000, 5,000. Okay, but salary is different. So P sal is coming from sal is coming from 12,000. Next time sal is coming 3,500. That will be in the formal parameters 3,500, and we are calculating everything here. Instead of ITax, we are passing P ITax, P net sal. This P ITax, P net sal is in the exporting parameter. ITax equal to P ITax, net sal equal to P net sal value. Because if you see here this subroutine name sub cal tax using formal parameters are there. Data will be mapping with this formal parameter with actual parameters that we are displaying in the right statement. Write is not mentioned here, but somewhere you consider here write will be there. Okay, and data will come based on this subroutine. So now this is procedure oriented. We discuss in modulation concept, include subroutines, events, those are all comes under procedure. Programmers condense related sequence of statements into one single place called procedure. Procedure means subroutines or includes comes under procedure. Okay. Now comes to the object-oriented ABAP. Okay. Classes and objects are used to model a real-world entity. If you take object-oriented, a real-world entity means we can consider as a college as well real-world entity, and there are many objects we have. Departments or objects, buildings or objects, labs or objects. Faculties also consider objects. Students consider objects. Machinery consider objects. Ground also can consider objects. Vehicles also can consider as objects. But everything together we call as a real world one entity. Okay, with different properties. Methods inside the classes performing the function. So we previously in procedure oriented we use subroutines. So when it comes to the class object oriented ABAP, we have classes and methods format. You can see class, tax, class, definition, and end class. We define this section here in public section. We define data methods, calculation tax. This is a method name, importing parameters salary, exporting parameters I tax and net salary. Here we have importing, exporting parameters. So we use these three things. And in the method implementation, you can see method calculation tax, end method in the implementation part. Okay, we can see same thing we written here, salary and everything. And we are calling this method after start of selection, we should call. Class also, this also comes under definition. Here we are creating the object. We have to create object for every class. Object is nothing but instance of the class. Like work areas, internal tables are instance of the tables, right? Similarly, object is nothing but a instance of the class. Through the object, we can access the class objects, class attributes, methods, events. We can access. You can see call method. We are calling keyword is a call method to call the method. OBJ1 is object, and we are calling the calculation tax method with exporting, importing parameters. Exporting salary, W salary, that we have to initiate. Here we are not passing, but before calling method, W sal equal to 5,000 or 10,000, we have to initiate. You can see already we initiated in this declaration. W sal type P decimals to value 10,000. Okay, 10,000 we initiated, and importing tax and net sal is importing. That will be coming based on the calculation, and we're displaying panel. Okay. So if you see comparison between procedure and object-oriented approaches, so these are all the main features in object-oriented. Emphasize modulation, classes include subroutines, function models, all are comes under modulation only. Data security. Security means we have a visibility sections here, public, private, protected. Okay, with that we can restrict the data access from outside of the class. Okay, extensibility. Just go through these points. Yeah. So main features of object-oriented ABAP is a better programming structure. We can reduce or we can use the repeated code in single block of methods. Okay, that is one. And real world entity can be modeled in very well. Like I gave the example, right? College we can take as an example, or in the business channel we can take sales as one example. In sales we have number of things. Sales order is there, sales office, sales organizations, sales areas. We have to define many things related to sales. Sales organization, sales area, sales office, sales area, offices assigned to sales areas. Okay, sales group is assigned to sales offices. There are a number of activities, right? Under the sales, all can be created as a single class with different methods. Whatever is required, we'll call that particular method wherever it is required in enhancement or program. We can call that particular method. When it comes to procedure-oriented programming, we have also modulation concept like function models we have, right? So function model is part of which is it directly storing in the package, or it is we need something for function model? What is the prerequisites for function model?
Function group.
Yes, function. Okay, in standard way of developing in SAP, single function group having multiple function models. Okay, hundreds of function models. If you see, I'll open one of the standard function group for inbound outbound queues. Example, we know use LV grid display. I'll open that. Reuse LV function model example. I'll take any of these. Are all the LV function models. Reuse LV grid display. Will take this. So this is part of function group. We can check the function group in attributes. This is the function group SLVC full screen. If you double click, open master program, go to display objects. This will go to SC80 now. Yeah. So this is a function group we open. If you see here, how many function models? Okay, here we have less function models. Consider we have this 7 to 8 function models, but declaration is common for all the function models. That is part of top include. See, this is a declaration common for those function models. Even if you remember, we use declaration for list type group, right? Here we have KKBLO, but we use this list type group. This is common for all the ALV function models. When there is a declaration is common for every function model, variables, all. If you call any of the function model from this ALV, all these declarations, variables will be loaded unnecessarily. Because all function models declarations happen in common top include. So if you're calling this function model, automatically this master program of this function model will call into your program. When this master program is calling, all these function models will be loaded in the runtime memory. When all function model is loaded in your report, which is not required, what will happen? Performance of report will be increased automatically. If the report is working in within 1 second, when this will, because of the issue sheet, will take 10 to 15 seconds. Okay. So to overcome this, we can use object-oriented ABAP approach. And the main thing is stress on the data security. Okay. If you design that public, private, protected sections, I'll show in programmatically. So there, if you restrict in the private, then you will not able to access that method outside of the class. Protected also same. For only public we can access. We can restrict the accessing of content from outside of the class using this data security. Data encapsulation abstraction. We can do inheritance concept, interfaces. Interface means we can define methods and all in single interface, and that can be accessed in number of classes. Same definition, but implementation will be different. Suppose I created method with ABCD variable, ABC variables. In one class, I can develop as the addition of 2 numbers. In another class, I can do as a multiplication of 2 numbers. In different class, in the same method, I can do the division. Okay. Inheritance also we have reduction in code redundancy. Okay, code wise also we can do multiple. We can design good architecture because it object-oriented ABAP comes under modulation concept. We can in programs we can convert it to classes and methods and those scenarios. Okay, and requirements for learning object-oriented ABAP. Okay, this is very important. Why we need object-oriented ABAP means nowadays all latest version of SAP, not ABAP versions I'm talking about version of NetWear from 7.0 onwards. Now currently we are in 7.7. I am using 760. Latest version is 770. I don't know whether you are using or not. Some projects started using 770. Okay, from 7.0 onwards, 700 onwards, all the SAP programs, standard programs are started using object-oriented ABAP. Okay. Suppose I got some issue in the project. If you wanted to resolve that issue, you need to debug the code. What is the use of debugging the code?
To solve the errors.
To solve the errors. No, what? Okay, to solve the errors, that is a purpose. But what will happen while doing the debugging? Why we need the debugging? Solving the error is a purpose, but at the time of debugging, what we supposed to do?
It's go through the procedure.
To run the program, sir, successfully. That's why debugging is needed.
No, no, that is not the case. We are saying from the purpose point of view only. If you do the debugging, we can understand how program is working line by line.
Okay.
Okay, that is the main thing. Debugging means to understand the program, how it is behaving. Then only we can understand why we are getting error. Okay. If you are debugging line by line, okay, if some keyword came in the code which you don't know, what will happen that time? Will you able to debug the code properly?
No, sir.
Okay, you learn the ABAP, but you didn't learn some keywords or some piece of code which is there in the code. So you got some issue while debugging, you found those keywords. You don't know the functionality of those keywords. Will debugging will help you? You'll not able to understand if something is working there. If you wanted to debug the code and you wanted to expertise, you need to get the expertise in the debugging. You should understand the each and every keyword in the ABAP. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. To understand the keyboard means you should be understand the latest patches or latest syntaxes of ABAP, right? Then only you can understand, because SAP is built based on the ABAP. If you understand all the latest keywords, latest syntax, then only you can able to debug the code to understand why issues is coming. Debugging is not that you learn the debugging techniques and you can you'll get expertise in the debugging. You should aware of each and every keyword, how it is functioning in the programming. Then only you can understand what is happening in the code, right? To resolve the issues.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is the main requirement here, because 7.0 onwards, 10 years back it was started 7.0. Now we are in 7.70 latest version, but native is not coming. 7.750, 7.3 is there in ABAP and HANA systems or ECC systems is ended with 7.40. 7.52 also there in ECC with traditional databases. Okay, not with the HANA database, with the traditional database. You have to understand each and every keyword. Okay. So to understand that, we need to know that object-oriented ABAP approach also, how it is working. What is how it they are calling importing, exporting parameters, how we are calling methods, how we are calling constructors. Okay, how we are calling interfaces, how interfaces are using in classes and all. Okay, what is event handling, event triggering, what is friendship between the classes. Then only we can understand everything. Okay, what is public section, private protected sections. So here you can see adopt the universal approach for modern programming. We have to adopt, then only will be good in the programming. So we should know the ABAP latest technologies like BADI enhancements, workflows, and SAP PI. This is we are using SAP PI model we are using for integration purpose. Okay, when you are connecting SAP with third-party tools through the internet, not with the BAPI also we can connect. That is, we are not connecting non-SAP technologies. They are connecting SAP through BAPIs. But if you want to connect with external technologies from SAP, then we should go with, we can do directly integration, but few of the projects we have restrictions. We can't connect directly ECC with any external servers because of security issues or compliance issues. We have to connect external servers through middleware servers. So SAP middleware systems are like SAP PA and XA systems. Okay, that is similar to our system only, but they have different stack. They are using some Java stack kind of portal. There they are doing integrations. Okay, with external technologies like external portals, external technologies like Ariba is there. We have SAP Concur, Fieldglass. There are many cloud solutions from SAP and non-SAP also. We have many technologies like We have to integrate ITSM tools like ServiceNow, Remedy, Jira. There are service ITSM tools. If you wanted to integrate those, or if you want to integrate with some .NET system or another system, we need to go through middleware, that is PA system. While calling that middleware system code in ABAP code, we have to generate through object-oriented ABAP approach only. Okay, and use ABAP to integrate with Microsoft technologies or Java systems. Microsoft technologies means you want to call .NET code, or you want to call some Excel code. You can also call SAP from Excel, or you can read Excel data from ABAP, or you can call some SharePoint. You need to integrate SAP with SharePoint, which is similar to Google Drive in projects level. Okay, a few of them don't have IT experience, right? And if you're in if you're working in IT side, so we are using SharePoint as a folder to store the files now, similar to our Google Drive. Okay, so we wanted to connect those folders to extract the files or to put the files, okay, to generate the files into those folders. Connecting the Java systems or .NET system, PHP systems. Okay. To understand the different functionalities within the SAP, also we need to understand this object-oriented ABAP. These are all the major requirements. Mainly nowadays we are using for integration scenarios. Not only Microsoft technologies, different technologies are there in the market to integrate those. Because client is not only using SAP, they might use web applications, they might use some different softwares, right? We wanted to integrate all these technologies by using through ABAP code, because SAP is a major business for the clients. Major, we can say base systems for the business. In all the system, other systems are they are using for supporting purpose, where customers are not able to use SAP. They might use web applications, but we have to be integrated with that to synchronize the data between the both databases. Okay, that is a basic thing. Classes and objects. You can see here, class is a template of object. It is an abstract concept which is realized by the creating an object from it. We can take some example here. I gave the example similar to college, right? You can go through this. We are giving example as a car, and we have multiple features, like we have seats are there, engines are there, engine is there, other raw materials, all we can consider as bits and parts of the car, right? And college also I gave example, similar departments, students, or all those are the part of the college entity. Car entity also we have seats, like wheels are there and engines are there. Those are all the parts of the car entity. Okay, so object oriented above attributes. Okay, attributes means in data dictionary we have some components attributes, right? Like tables, views, and all. Similarly, object oriented above we have abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. This will discuss programmatically. At this moment, we will not understand. Yeah, so we need to understand this thing mainly. We can create class in locally and globally also, similar to structures. Structure also we created local and globally, right? Classes also we can create local and global. If we create global class, we can call that class anywhere in the SAP system. Any of the program we can call. Any programs you can call. It is stored in the class repository. Classes can be created using SC24 transaction, and the first letter should be start with Y and Z, similar to programs and tables. Okay, and local class it is similar to the normal program report. So only in the program where it is defined we need to access, and it is storing in the programming memory, not the class repository. How to create the local class using SC38, and it can be begin with any character, because already we create the program with Y and Z, right, in SC38. Within the program we are also using variables A, B, C, D views, MV views, LV views, GV views. All right, table names also we use. Only keywords we should follow ABAP standard, and class names and all it is RVision locally, but globally it's a global object and it's kind of separate development object. We should start with Y or Z if it is a SC24 one. Okay, how to define the class? We have to use class C1 is a class name here, class C1 definition. end of the class. Within the class, we have three sections: public section, private, and protected. Here I just we use only public section. In under the public section, we declare the variable number variable with integer value 5, and we declare methods. M1 is a method here. How to do the implementation? We see only highlighted one. Class C1, here definition, here we're doing implementation end class. Within this, they are doing method M1 and end method. This is a method implementation. Declaration, we are not going to do the implementation. Only methods we have to implement. In this method, what I did, I just displaying some basic thing. And how to access the class? Through this part. Okay, we have to define the class. ORF is object with reference type ref to. Type ref to is a keyword to create the object with the reference of class. Class is a C1. We defined, we implemented, and we need to create this object ORF1. Create object is a keyword to create the object. Object is the instance of the class. Through the object ORF1, I'm accessing the variable. So what when you are displaying this variable using write, we should not display directly because this is a class variable. We have to refer with object with the variable. What is there in this variable? Value of 5 is already assigned, that we are displaying. And you can call the method using call method with object and method. So when you're calling with object, we should use single arrow mark. When we're calling with class, we can also call with class. That time we need to use double arrow mark. Okay, when you call this method, we don't have any logic here. We're just displaying text. I am M1 in the C1. I am the method of this class. Just for understanding this, that will display. So different places of implementing the class. Okay, we can implement similarly here. Definition and implementation immediately after start of selection, we're accessing. So two approaches we have: definition, accessing the method, and then implementation we can do, or a definition immediate implementation, and then we can access. Okay, two ways we can do implementation, but definition should come always starting of the program. Okay, definition is very important. After definition, we can access a method, but implementation we can do anywhere. But if you're not doing definition, if you're accessing class and class data types, class methods, then that is not the good approach. It will get the runtime this error messages in programming level. Yes. Okay, so who can use the class? You can see class itself, subclass of the class, external user. We have three things here. Okay, how we can define these three things based on the visibility sections. I'll show in next slide. Class itself. Class itself means within the class. We can see here W underscore number is that variable that is usually within the method. You can see this is a declared, and we are using within the method only, within the class. This method is a part of the class only, right? We are using here subclass of the class. If you see here, C2 is defining inheriting from the C1. This is a C1 example. This is C2 class. We are defining inheriting from C1. This is the inheriting concept. If you add this keyword, C2 is inheriting the properties of from C1. When you define subclass also, we can use this W number. You can see here. Excuse me. External user. External user means we are calling externally outside of the class. After startup selection, whatever we are writing, that is outside of the class. We are accessing outside of the class using the object. We created the object here. We declared the object. We created the object. Through the object, we are accessing. Three things. Class itself. Class itself, we are directly accessing. Subclass. This is a subclass C2 implementation, not C1 implementation. This is a method to C2 implementation we are displaying. External user, we are calling the method and we are displaying. Directly we can call. So what are those three visibility sections? Public, protected, private. In every class definition, we have three sections: public, protected, private section. Public means public satisfied all these three options. Protected, it is satisfied only first two options: class itself, subclass of the class. Private will satisfy only first one, class itself. Will not able to access out even in subclass or outside of the class. You can also see this silly example. Some mention components of classes. Methods we can declare. Attributes means the variables, data variables, A, B, C, D with values and all. Events, interface also we can define. Even in interface, you'll not understand until unless we write some code. Methods means some block of, it is similar to subroutines or includes. Attributes means normal declarations, A variables, B variables, structures, table types, those can be declared. Instant and static, you need to understand difference between instant and static. These things, yeah. So we'll write the basic program and we'll try to understand how to define this, okay? So this is a definition class, this is implementation, this is accessing, okay? Applying to SAP. If you are in more time with idle, as ideal, then system will be automatically switch off. We need to log in again. So SC38, I'm just explaining in the local scenario. So we'll discuss each and every concept locally. Then finally, I'll show simply how to mention in the how to declare in the global class. Then you'll get to know what is the difference. Okay. Understanding in local class is very important. Global class, it is just, it's not the coding part. We are just coding is there, but it's not full coding. We're just kind of table creation kind of thing. We're just filling and doing activity. Local class is the pure programming. Okay. Automatic operations. Okay. I'll try to write. I'll try to create a simple program to understand the class, this basic class with arithmetic operations. Okay. Executable program in the package and then transport. Yes, now standard page ready. So what we need to do, how to define the class? Class C1 definition. Okay, end class. I'm just writing outline, then we'll go inside. Okay, class C1 implementation in class startup selection. There's a basic local class, local programming structure, high level structure. And the definition, again, we have three sections: public section, protected section, private section. Okay. Is this understood as of now? Definition for declaring, basically definition means declaration activities. Implementation means we have to write the actual logic. Any doubt as of now? Startup selection means we're going to access class components.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So now here in sections, we can declare, like in public section, data I'm writing. Data, you can write date, MB date, type, data element, SYST, data, standard data element. Okay, so I was talking about instant and static values, right? Instant and static. Okay, you can see here, instant components exist separate in each instant of the class or refer to using instant component selector. Okay, it's not there. Okay, so this is a difference you can see. Instant constructors or instant methods, instant variables, instant events, or what are the components we have within the class. Okay, all can be declared directly with direct keyword. If you write data, it's an instant one. If you write methods, it's an instant method. Okay. If you write class hyphen, that will be act as a static. So I'll show what is the difference between instant and static. Instant objects, instant components, basically we should access through object only. We should declare the object, through that only we can access. If it is a static values or static methods, static variables, we can access directly with the class with the double arrow. Okay, so this is a static one. You can say I'm accessing through class. I can access. We can access with object also, but the main advantage is we can access through directly class. We don't need to create the object. Okay, so I'm creating here static variable class data. Class hyphen you have to write additional anything. Data class data method class method. Be time I'm declaring. Okay. Methods also we can declare like methods M1 class methods M2, or you can write addition subtraction. Okay. Protected and private I'll show through programmatic only. First we'll try to understand these things. So these are all variables. You don't need to do implementation. Implementation is required only for methods. What is the first method? Method addition end method. Okay, that is a basic outline. After that again opens second method subtraction end method. This is a basic format. Okay, now in this addition, what we require addition, we need two variables and final variable we should have. Okay, ABC we required. Okay, we should have the importing exporting. Importing exporting can be defined in this level on the definition level. Here we have to write importing a type integer, exporting. Okay, one more importing. Okay, you don't need to write one again importing b type integer. Exporting we have to mention specifically. Exporting key type integer. So here we have to define the importing exporting parameters method level. Here you can directly use C equal to A plus B. Now, A and B, what are these values? Importing values. C is the exporting. Okay. Parameter interface also we have somewhere in the document. I'll show later when we reach that particular position. Yeah, we have, okay, this is, we are talking about methods here. Methods and constructors. We started the methods. So everything is class only. Yeah, we're starting the methods here. So if you see here, method. Okay. So methods are internal procedure of the class. Okay. We have to this all internal procedure of the class. And if you see here, importing changing parameter. If there is a changing parameter, the data will variable will come as it is. Importing, exporting also will work, changing. But importing can be as a exporting. Importing means only values will come inside the method. Exporting will go out. Importing will not go out. But changing parameter also there, similar to importing, exporting, that will be coming in and will go out also. And importing parameter can be as a returning parameter. Total we have 4 parameters here. Importing parameter, exporting parameter, changing parameter, returning parameter. X means exceptions. It's not a parameter, but here we are considering as a parameter only. Exceptions also we can define in code level. Total 5 parameters we have, parameter interface for the methods. We have separate slide for that also. So declare in the definition part of the class is an interface as well, or interface as allows. So we can also define this importing, exporting parameters, the declaration of the class, or this can be defined in interface level. Interface we didn't start. There also we can define, you can see exporting, changing, returning exceptions. All can be defined in definition part only. So default way of passing parameters is method is by the reference, not by the values and all. Okay. So to pass by parameter by value, value addition should be used. So in the BAPI we discussed, right, pass by value, pass by reference, both can be done here. That will be see when the requirement comes. And returning parameter we have. So this we are not going to discuss now. Implementing method, static method. We are accessing through class method, static method. Defining, importing, exporting parameters. We have to declare like this. Same I use here also. Yeah. Calling of the method. We are going to use call the method directly with class reference, object reference and method, class and method. But these are all dynamic way of methods. When you are working complex applications, you need to understand how to call these methods in different ways. Okay, we are going to cover 3 to 4 things in this. This also continuation of that, calling the method and method name. We can also call with object and reference. We can push into some reference. That's fine. Dynamic method calls. We can call the method dynamically in this. So why we need this means if you're doing some kind of complex applications like you don't know the class name and method name, both are coming in dynamic variables. That time you can need to define the variables class and method. You have to pass it here as a dynamic values. Exceptions, dimensioning, parameter table, that is for importing, exporting. Wanted to show you that. Oh, it's not coming. Okay, fine. We'll complete this report first. Remaining we'll see next session. So ABCD we mentioned, addition of 2 numbers, and subtraction also I wanted to define, say importing A type integer, B type integer, exporting C type integer. So we define this methods and parameters, and we'll see, we'll try to access here. Subtraction means C equal to A minus B. Okay. So now we need to access here. Okay, to access that we have to declare object first. LO OBJ. Local LO means local object, OBJ is because we are creating object as I mentioned. We have to use type ref2 keyword here. Okay, type ref2 class is the C1 and declare the object. Create the object. This is the declaration 147, and we have to create the object LO object. Okay, through this object we can access the class variables and methods. So I'll access addition of 2 numbers now. What is the keyword to call the method? It's a call method LO object. Okay, so which method we wanted to call? We can call addition of 2 numbers. Okay, so when you're calling addition of 2 numbers, we have exporting parameters right here. Exporting parameters A equals to 10, B equals to 20. Then we have importing parameters C equal to, I'll create some variable MB out. MB out will declare here. Type integer. Okay, this MB out will be having the final value that I'll display here. Understood, guys? Only types of from ref2 parameter as a created data, not created data, it is created object. Yeah. Click and then activate. Okay, now we can see additional 2 numbers 30 is coming. Because we are executing this. If you want dynamic values here, and before this startup selection, you have to write parameters. Parameter P underscore A type integer. Parameters P underscore C B type integer. This P underscore A B have to pass here. P underscore A P underscore B. Then this will work as a dynamic addition of 2 numbers. Okay, execute. You can see P underscore A 100, 400. You can write total will be 500. We change here 300, 700 will come. Okay, because we have the screen, We are storing here 300, 400 that we are passing here. When we are passing here, this will call this method. We are calling this method. This execution will come. So A equal to what we are passing. We are passing P underscore. P underscore A we are assigning here 300. So 300 is a A. B is a 400. It will go through P underscore A to B. B will come here. So 300 plus 400, 700. C is a importing. C importing will come in the NB out. NB out we are displaying in the last using right. You have to understand here we mention as importing parameters. When we are calling, this is work as an exporting parameter, similar to function model. Opposite, we are exporting this data. Method is importing those values. Opposite, we are exporting and method is importing. Where we are exporting in the report. In class level is method is importing. And it is generated C. C is exporting from method level, and program level we are importing this value. Both are in the same program only, but class is different, program is different. Because class is a restricted one. As I mentioned that security wise, so class is restricted everything. We have to access through object. Addition of two numbers we mentioned. Now subtraction of two numbers. Subtraction of two numbers. Call method. Elbow object. Subtraction. Same. Here also it will come exporting. A equal to P underscore A, B equal to P underscore B. Yes, 500 minus 100, 400 is displaying. Okay. If you write 500 minus 600, 500 minus 700, minus 200 will come. Okay. So subtraction also working through object reference. We can also call this through class name also. If you are calling through class, we can write double arrow mark. Okay. You can see it is working minus 200. Static variable, static methods, we can access offset of the class through the class name. There is a class name C1. Right here, C1 is mentioned. Now, if you see here, we can also do the inheritance. Inheritance means class C1 definition. C1 is definition is done. Now we are doing C2 definition. Class C2 definition inheriting from C1 in class. And C2 implementation. Class C2 implementation in class. In class C2, what I'm doing, public section, I'll write method division. Okay. Quoting A type integer. B type integer. Exporting C type integer. So we define single section with one method. We need to implement this in C2 implementation. Method division C equal to A by B. Understood, guys? definition implementation part. Only inheriting from C1, I'll tell you. Inheriting means whatever the properties, components, implementation is there in the class C1, everything will copy to C2 also. We don't need to do. Now subtraction and addition is already part of C2 because of this keyword inheriting from C1. Now see what will happen in the declaration part or a definition. I'll create one more object. Subclass. Sub-object means subclass. Type ref to C2. Created. Here we have to create that sub-object. Okay. Now if I am able to access addition of two numbers or subtraction, I can see here. Subtraction is part of class C1. Okay. See, I'm accessing from C2 subtraction. Will it work? See, 300, 100, 200 is output. See, it is working. Okay. So we are accessing through class C2, which is a object. C2 we can access, or to C2 object also we can access. LO sub object with single arrow mark. If I execute C200. So we can also access through subclass because all these properties, whatever is there, MB data, MB time, addition, subtraction, everything will copy to subclass. So if I declare everything in protected, will it work? Yeah, I just copied everything in protected section. Now see what is the error, guys, here. Can someone read the error?
Sub is not allowed.
Access to
The
protected.
subclass is not allowed.
Yeah, access to protected method sub is not allowed. What is the subtraction here? Static one. Protected and private ones will not be inherited. Okay, will not able to access. If I mention here in the private, so it's a different one. I can read out this. Method sub is unknown or private or protected. Understood this one? Previous one is access issue. This is one. It is program is not able to identify that method because it is clearly mentioning method subtraction is unknown or it might be protected or also private. Protected and private also will not able to understand because private one, it is specific to within the class. If you see in the document in the public sections, yeah, here we have private section. Components placed here are accessible by the class itself. This is a class itself. Only we need to declare, and we should use any of the method. We should not use in the subclass. If it is a protected components placed in the protected section or visible for children of the class, means subclass as well as the within the class. We can access within the class or subclass. This is protected. Public means everything. All three options can be supported. Okay. So if you are planning to do any inheritance, and you wanted to inheritance, that should be in the part of public section only. Only it will be inherited. Okay. So if I am accessing sub, what is the issue? Okay, no issue here. If I put this in protect section, what is the issue here? Access to protected method sub is not allowed. Previously it is showing private or protected. And now why we are not able to access protected thing? Private is only for class itself, but this we are accessing through the subclass object, right? This is a subclass object. If you see LO sub object, which we created the object, which is a reference of class C2. C2 is inherited from the class C1, but still why we are not able to access? This is protected one for accessing class or within the class. But now where we are accessing outside of the class. We are calling the method after start of selection. You can call the method in division or division only subclass. You can call here. If you see, I'll call here. Subtraction I wanted to call. Call the method C1 double R mark subtraction. Exporting A equal to A, equal to B. We'll see whether it is works. C equal to MB out. I just write. Subtraction also we have right. Okay. I'll just set some standard values. Okay, now I'll access this division to subclass. See, no issue. We are accessing subclass of division, which is what is the division which is declared in the which section we declare this? This is declared in public. So public can be accessed outside of the class. So we are accessing division, but within the division, what is there? We are accessing the subtraction of the C1. But where we are accessing the subtraction class? This is which class it is? This method is part of which class? C1 or C2?
C2.
Yeah, C2 we are accessing, but which method we are accessing? Subtraction part of C1 or C2?
C1.
C1. Okay. So as per this, protected one components are accessed the subclass of the class, subclass or within the class. Now we are accessing the subclass only, right? This is a protected method which is declared in class C1. Protected method where we are accessing in subclass only through call method. Call method should be there in the class itself or subclass. So division is a subclass one. Within the class we are accessing. This will work now. If I exit, you can see first division will come, then first subtraction will come, then division will come. 300 by 100. You see, first 5 is subtraction is coming. Let me write it again. But yeah, 10 minus 5. 5 will come first. 5 is output. Then division will come. 10 minus 5, 5 is coming. And 300 by 100, it's a division. 3 is coming. Okay. Whenever you call this division method, this is public method only. But inside the public method, we are calling the protected method. Understood now? Data security of object-oriented ABAP. Only public thing only we can access outside of the any class, in either subclass or global parent class. We can access only just outside of the class using public methods only, public variables, public methods only. Public can be instant or static. See, if I write this thing public, this is instant, this is static. It can be instant or static, but it should be under public section. This section defines the data security, public, protected, and private. Is it clear, guys? Many things we discussed in the session. Okay.